Hi, it's Rob from Kickback Garage. Today I'm going to do an in-depth review of the Casa Performance Casa cover. So if that's something you're interested in, grab yourself a brew and I'll see you after the break.
Messing around with these cameras, batteries going flat.
Alle sprang I lag og ville komme under tak. Ingen av oss merket at du hadde falt ifra. Hvorfor valgte du å dra? Hvem I faen kunne se den komme? Da høsten tok over, sa vi hadde bra til last sommer.
So I've got loads of cheat sheets here because I want this review to go as smoothly as possible, even though it might not be professional. Who cares? I've owned the Casa case for just about a year, and the reason why I bought it personally is because I've got a Casa case and it looks really bling. I think so. But the looks are pretty Marmite. So there's people out there who want to keep their bikes looking as standard as possible. This is not really for you. We'll take a look around it afterwards. But first, I want to explain a couple of things. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, when the TS1 first came out, it unleashed power unbeknown to man. Well, unbeknown to the scooterist at least. And this actually caused quite a few problems that are sort of maybe forgotten by the younger generation. And the problem is, there was so much power compared to anything else that had been on the market that a lot of the other components that are out there, they couldn't really keep up with the power of the cylinder. So myself and probably millions of people out there, well, thousands, hundreds, tens of hundreds, I don't know. But anyway, a lot of people that threw themselves on the wave of the TS1, the mighty TS1, they soon found out that they were getting problems with crankshafts and chains and chain tensioners, but the biggest problem that we had was clutches. Now, the way to combat slipping clutch back in the day was, I think I remember we had like really strong clutches, and we even threw in Vespa PX200 center clutch as well. What that meant was, riding your bike in town just wasn't feasible. The clutch was so hard. Ah! It was such a killer. But anyway, now in modern times, like I'd say the last 4 or 5 years, there's come quite a few so-called monster clutches, super clutches if you will. And they've got lighter spring action, but they're still stiff compared to like the original lambretta clutches that came from Innocenti. So I think the reason behind the Casa case is the fact that it's got a pinion system which makes pulling the clutch in a lot easier. Now the pinion system, this is nothing new really, because I used to mess around with Vespas, as a lot of us did, sorry. And if you look at the inside of a PK XL clutch cover, you'll see that very same system in there. It's just now been utilised in a lambretta, and that is a very smart idea actually. So basically the Casa case, it should give you an easier clutch, and I'm going to test that today because I've got two bikes with exactly the same clutch in, one with the Casa lambretta side cover, the other one with the standard SIL or sealed Indian 200 side cover. So that's going to be interesting to see the results of that. So I'll just put my whiskey down for a minute and get out my cheat sheet. So this is the specs of the Casa cover. Right at this very moment, the price that is on the Rimini Lambretta Centre's webpage is a whopping €575. €575. So it's quite expensive. But it comes with the extended kickstart shaft, which you need for the cover. It comes with a kickstart shim and circlip. It comes with an oil seal and kickstart circlip. It comes with a cable adjuster block and obviously the clutch lever. According to Rimini Lambretta, you also need some other stuff. I think I wrote that down. Let's have a look if I did. Yeah. The other stuff you might need, I'm saying might, and I'll tell you why in a minute. You might need a new ramp and the 6mm bolts for the kickstart. You might need piston spring and circlip. You might need the kickstart buffer, the stopper, and you might need the gasket for the cable adjuster block, and you might need a kickstart spring. Now the reason why I'm saying this is because I bought my Casa cover from Chisel Speed around about this time last year, and I don't know if it's because I just said give me everything I need, or that's just the way that they deal, but I got everything I needed in that kit because this was a brand new build, and I didn't have anything to transfer any of the bits off. But if you've got like a standard engine now and you buy the kit, then obviously you can use some of the stuff that that's missing in the kit. I was in on the Scooter Centre website, and it looks like all the parts you need are in the kit they send, and Rimini Lambretta, it definitely states there stuff that you need. So that's just one to watch when you buy this, or if you buy it. The Casa cover is very blingy, and it comes in almost every colour under the moon. It is you can have it with silver side case, and the piece that you can detach, that is in either red, black, silver, blue, orange or yellow. So if you've got a fancy paintwork you want to match up with, then that's right for you. And they also do a stealth black option, which the whole side case is black, the cover is black, and you've got like a silver stripe where it says Casa Performance on the side there in black with like a silver board. I think that looks really nice. That wasn't available when I bought mine. So lots of options there if you want to really bling out your scooter. The other thing that the advertising bump talks about is that it'll fit any Lambretta. Well, that's what it says on Rimini, but obviously it's series 1, 2, 3, and you know, the DL GP. So that's not a problem. And obviously it fits Casa case and Gran Turismo's case, and obviously it'll fit the new Uni cases as well. Shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. Anything else on the market, because the stud spacing is the same, no problem. Another thing is that this one is actually recessed on the inside so that it fits the Casa Performance, what do they call it? The Power Master, you know, the green one, the fancy clutch. And that is, I think you have to have the side case if you want the Power Master clutch, if I'm not wrong, unless there's some sort of space you can put in there, but it doesn't really matter. If you buy a full engine, then obviously you're going to have the clutch and the side case. So if you look at the bottom of my video, I've put a link to the advertisement for the Casa cover from Rimini Lambretta, with gorgeous looking Isabel, who is playing with the clutch lever there. And some other points that they bring up is that the exhaust mounting points are exactly the same as the standard. You've got the inspection panel so that you can adjust chain tension and even remove crankshaft. And they also show a burly bloke who loosens the clutch arm and takes off the wire by hand without using any tools. But you can also use a 19mm spanner, which is preferred really. So if you're a subscriber of mine, you'll probably know that my poor Tourid, she's ill and she's due for a full engine rebuild. But I'm not going to do that just yet because I've got a couple of reviews I have to do before I throw that on the bench. And then I'm going to go through how we strip the engine. I'm going to look at my Casa case. It's been running for 3 years, so that's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll do a bit of wobbly cam and I'll take you down and have a look at the side case. First off, I have to apologise for the terrible lighting. I'm on a really low budget. Even the GoPro camera I'm filming from is borrowed. but I'm sure you can see it pretty good. Pretty good. When I grow up and get money, I'm going to buy lights and cameras and stuff, but that's not happening until I've sorted out the engine, which is making a funny noise. Sounds like it sounds like it's a cement mixer. So here is the panel. It has these small Allen bolts, which we can. I want to get you away from the kickstart because I don't want that in the way. See, there we go. So this is the side panel. And as you see, there are small Allen bolts here, and I'm going to loosen these afterwards. I'm going to take off my exhaust and loosen them. We can see what we can do when we've taken off that. And another thing to note is, as I said, the clutch arm and the adjustment block, that comes with the kit. And what I found was I actually had to change, because your cables tend to get a little bit frayed when you put them in the gear changer and tighten off the trunnion on the clutch wire. So they were all frayed. So if you're gonna fit this, it's probably a good idea to buy new cables too, because yeah, I'm not a believer of using old cables. There are differences between this and the original block. The clutch wire is slightly higher than what's normal, and if you can see the arm here for the clutch, it's a lot more shorter. Let's have a look from over the top. You can see that it seems a lot shorter and definitely quite a bit taller than the original one. If the ratio's been changed, I have no idea. I've not really looked that far into it, to tell you the truth. Another thing about this, like I said, is that it'll take the super duper Casa clutch, the green one, which is supposed to be able to hold about 50 horsepower, which is really impressive. So they've made like a recess here so that you've got enough room for that. But the clever part is that it'll fit any other clutch as well. So you're not confined to using that clutch. So you can actually buy this and bolt it on a standard engine. Another feature which I think is pretty cool, which actually Rimini Lambretta don't mention, is, can you see down there? The area that holds the kickstart shaft is really reinforced. It's super beefy. So obviously that's to withstand the pressures of really high powered machines, but that is a weak point on normal side cases. So that's a nice little touch, that is. And as I might have mentioned earlier, the looks, I don't know, I think it's absolutely good. I love the angular looking Cybertronic sort of look that it's got. But the purists, I think they hate it. So it's a bit like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. And I tell you the truth, when it comes to looks, I absolutely love it. And when I fit this, I had absolutely no problems whatsoever. It was just a straight bolt on. I did have a problem with the exhaust, and I'm not really sure why. I've put some feelers out on the internet, on Facebook, and everybody I've talked to, they have fit their exhaust without any problems whatsoever. But I did get a problem, and the problem is, for some strange reason, and like I said, the funny thing is, some of the guys that have said they've had no problems, they have exactly the same exhaust as me. I have an earlier version, so maybe the brackets are slightly different. I have no idea. But what I had to do was fit washers on the back side of this plate that the exhaust bolts in, because when I bolted it up, as I did on my my normal side case that I had before this one, it was touching the case. I'm not sure if you can see, but there is a tiny gap there. I'm thinking about 1.5 millimeters, and the only way I could achieve that gap was by fitting a washer in between the bracket. So either all the others are lying, and you can see it's really close. And another problem I had, but thinking about it, I have got a 62 stroke crank, so it might be like sort of the combination of this exhaust and the long crankshaft that I've got that pushes the cylinder further forward, that means I have to twist the exhaust somewhat. So I did have a slight problem on the last video where I'm crying about Turid being ill. You could see my footboard was split, and the reason why the footboard was split was because this was catching. You can actually see the mark there. It was catching on the inside of the footboard and lifting it up there, and then eventually it split at the back here, which is a bit of a shame. But she's not the prettiest bike in the world. I'm more obsessed by the fact that she runs properly than how she looks. Oh, scary. They're quite small actually. It's a 3mm Allen key for these screws, and I might have tightened them up a little bit too much. I imagine they're pretty easy to round off. So that actually loosened quite quick. That was it's 8 screws instead of 16 screws for there. And here you have to watch out for, and it's metal by the way. Ding, 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 ding. It is not plastic. It looks plastic, but it's metal. And you have these O-rings you gotta watch out for, so don't lose those. So this is what she looks like with the inspection cover off, and you've got good access to the bolt here, and definitely good access to your chain tensioner. This is the first time I've actually taken it off. I got a question: can you change the front sprocket without taking the side case off? And the simple answer to that is maybe. It is absolutely no problem whatsoever that you can adjust your chain tensioner without having to dump out all of your oil. That's no problem whatsoever. They also say that you can take out the crankshaft. Now, to me, this seems a little bit silly. I mean, call me a Burke if you want, but if you're not a racer, I mean, seriously, to take out your crankshaft, so you have to split the cases. You're going to have to take off the barrel anyway. And why wouldn't you take off the side case? Seriously. And you can inspect other stuff as well, like gearbox and stuff like that. Yeah, I just don't see the point. You wouldn't. The practicality of taking off your crankshaft from here is pretty small. And the thing is, I really don't like using power tools on crankshafts. I've got a friend who I won't mention his name, Steve, who actually sheared off his crankshaft by using a power tool taking off this bolt. So it's really not practical. Yeah, you can get to it. You can see it's right there, easy access. But you're not, like normal people on the street, they're not going to do it. So you're not going to buy the Casa case. Really, seriously, you are not going to buy the Casa case for the fact that it's got this inspection cover. I mean, I see the chain tensioner, that could come in handy, but never once have I been riding around thinking, I wonder if I need to adjust my chain tension. So yeah, so there you have it, folks. That's sort of a little bit of myth busting there, that's for sure. But yeah, but you can actually see the state of your oil, and you can see the state of the chain. So that's not too bad. It does have its upsides, and if you look around here as well, those two O-rings, they really do seal well because it's completely dry. So no problems with leaking or anything like that. So that's definitely not a worry. And it does add a little bit of bling. I mean, come on, seriously. Casa Performance, Casa Performance. It's very cool, and it's quite heavy. That is, it's quite heavy. So that is definitely a solid bit of kit. And for the smart asses out there, you'll see the Casa Performance logo here, the CP. I've actually painted that by hand, just to add a little bit of extra bling. So the next question I had on the agenda there was, can you, as they do in the video that I've linked to at the bottom of this video here, can you take off the clutch lever, the clutch wire, without using a tool? So let's give that a try, because I haven't tried it. You should have full view of the clutch arm, and let's see if I can take it off by hand without using any tools. Now, I saw the technique that he used on the video. He was holding to give him a bit of purchase, holding on the shock there and giving a bit of a twist. Hey, by golly, actually, this has surprised me too, because I actually didn't think that was possible. Let's have a look. Oh, almost. Problem is just hooking it out there. Oh, come on. I'm just not strong enough. I have to give it to these burly Italian mechanics down at Rimini. They're stronger than me, that's for sure. Let's have a go. I'm sure the technique. There you go. Yep, I did it by hand. Wait, that's not bad. So that's true. You can take it off by hand, and I'll see if I can put it back on again. See? Oh, it's pretty stiff. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll use Rob method. So I use the easiest method, which is a 19-inch open end spanner, and you just put that on there. And yeah, it's really easy. Now with the original type clutch arm, you use all sorts of contraptions to try and move that. But this is fine. And you can feel it. It really does make the clutch lighter. And another reason for the clutch is lighter, and not just because of the pinion that's in there, is the fact that it's running on needle bearings. So yeah, definitely, definitely makes the clutch lighter. And at a pinch, you can take off the clutch wire. I think the thing with the video is, I think that they have the super duper Casa clutch in, and that clutch has got a thrust bearing washer on the clutch center. So I imagine, like, this is quite a powerful LTH 7-plate clutch with 5 strong springs in. So I reckon it's probably even lighter, the one that's actually designed for the kit. So, but yeah, LTH clutch in this side case, no problems whatsoever. So let's get down to some more nitty gritty. The internet is just so fantastic. I'm gonna move you over here a bit. Let's have a look. Right, so while I've been filming this, loads and loads of other questions have come in, not just on personal message side. And one bloke in the United States, America, over the pond, he says that the best thing about being able to take off this cover is that you will be able to change the sprocket. I don't know. For me, I think, because I'm not a power tool lover when it comes to taking this nut off the clutch, like I explained about my friend who is nameless, Steve, I think I'd actually have to take off the other footboard and take off the flywheel cover and use a flywheel holding tool to take off this. And yes, you can squeeze, absolutely no problems, squeeze in the spring and the seat here and taking off the sprocket. That is absolutely no problem. But if I look really closely here, Okay, I'll give you that. I think with the sprocket that I've got on the front there, is it 19 teeth? It might just be able to come out through the hole. Might just be able to take that out. I mean, I can loosen the chain tensioner. I can take off the footboard, hold the flywheel, screw off this nut, take up, but seriously boys, if you're doing such a big operation, why is it so difficult to take off the side case and just use a clutch holding tool? That's my question. But yeah, if you want to mess around trying to get, it is quite tight in there. And the side case is quite thick in the access holes. Let's have a look, I'll show you. You can see the side case is quite thick in the access holes. It's a good thing, but I mean, yeah, it is doable, but you could lose the bolts down there from the chain tensioner. Hooking off the chain, not really that easy. I'd just say that was feasible in like sort of a Mythbusters sort of explanation. That is feasible, but it is definitely yeah. I wouldn't really bother, to tell you the truth. I really wouldn't. So I don't know. You can say I'm strange, but I really, seriously, how long does it take to take off the side case, really? For me, personally, and probably a lot of people as well, if I'm going to do a major operation, like removing the crankshaft, I take the engine out the frame. Definitely take the engine out the frame. It's just so much, you probably, because it's so fiddly, you're going to use so much longer time doing it. So yeah, that's not for me. And the other question I was asked is, if you've got the Casa case, the engine block itself, and the Casa side case, can you change the drive side oil seal without taking off the side case? And this is, I mean, that's the beauty of the Casa lambretta case. I've actually had an example. I was in Sweden and I started blowing terrible smoke out the exhaust on the way down to Sweden. And when I got to the rally, just with some basic tools and without having to remove the crankshaft like you normally would have to, I took off the sprocket, and this is the seal, which is exactly the same as what's on Vespa PX. And that's really handy because I actually didn't have an extra seal with me. So I got hold of one of those because everybody's got some PX guys in the club. And I changed it. I basically changed the drive side oil seal in about half an hour, which is normally quite a major job. So I'm looking at the feasibility here. Right, so I'm at a rally. I can take that off, and I can take off the front sprocket. Actually, I don't have to take it out the side case. So if you're running a 20, as an example, I don't think the 20 will go through there, but I really can't be bothered measuring. But for me, it's a lot of faffing about. But if I've, like I said, if I've killed the drive side oil seal, I also think that it's feasible that the drive side oil seal with the Casa side case and the Casa case is a feasible job. I always carry the tool with me. Let's have a look. This is the tool that comes with the Casa case. Well, it doesn't come with the Casa case. You have to buy it when you're going to assemble it. Because when I bought mine, it was before they sold complete engines, so I built mine entirely up of parts. And let's have a look. Yeah, so that actually fits through there. So that, for me, if you've got a Casa case, then yeah, maybe that's a feasible job. That is, you can actually, if you've got like a dentist pick, and that's what I used last time to take out the to take out the oil seal. You can loosen the chain, loosen this. You definitely can take out the sleeve, and because the sleeve on these as well don't sit as tight as sometimes they do, you can actually pull it off by hand. I've done that. So I can take out the sleeve, and I can take out the cush drive and use a dentist pick and fit this. So yeah, actually that's quite feasible. So now we get into the really really fun part of this test, and the fun part is that I have borrowed a digital scale, weight scale from work, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark off, what do you reckon, from the pivot point, let's say 13 centimeters. Alright, so what I'll do is take my trusty pen and I will mark off 13 centimeters from the central pivot point onto the handlebar lever. And then what I'll do is I will tape the end of the scale. The nice thing about this is that I don't really get any interference with the grip here. So what I'll do is pull the clutch lever with the scale, and we'll see what the reading is. But what I think I'll do to make it fair, I'm going to take 3 readings of the clutch lever and take an average of them. Now you're thinking, what does that mean? In real life world terms, that doesn't really matter anything whatsoever unless you've got something to measure it against. Well, that's my ace up my sleeve. So that is my beautiful Series 1, and the cool thing is she is set up with exactly the same clutch, the LTH 7-plate clutch, and he's got the other 5 of the 5 springs that I've got in mine. So the clutch is exactly the same strength. Right, so here we go. This is obviously not entirely scientific, but if I take 3 readings from it when I pull the clutch lever, they should give me at least a bit of an indication of how much pressure it takes to pull in this clutch lever. Obviously, both scooters have got Teflon lined wires. So let's put it on. So I'll put tape here at 13 centimeters. I'll hook it under there and I'll pull it out. Let's have a look. So I'll write that down. Get on tour it here. Let's see what we get. Ooh. So while I've been doing this review, I've had quite a few questions on the interwebs and that. And the biggest one here, the last one I got, was the features of the case. Are they really usable? Now I think I covered that, to tell you the truth, so I'm not going to babble on anymore about that. So now I'm going to get to the nitty gritty and tell you the results of my highly non-scientific test. But still, when I read out these numbers, you'll be surprised at how close they are. So on the Red Series 1 here, the first test I had come to 5.85 kilograms. The second test I had, 5.61 kilograms, and the third test I had came to 5.86, and that gives us an average of 568. So that's 5.68 kilos. The interesting thing is, on this one, with the Casa side case, is that the figures came to this. The first pull I had, 4.51. The second test, 4.61, and they're marginal. That's like, there's not a lot in it. And on the third test, 4.59. So it gives us quite a good indication of how it is. And the average on that is 4.57. So if we take the totals of both these bikes, and the difference between them is 1.28 kilos. That's actually pretty impressive. And I haven't mentioned this before, but you can feel it. You definitely can feel it. There is a difference. He's not going to die in town, but this is a pleasure to use. And I've measured the KTM here, the KTM 390, and that's about half a kilo lighter. And that is apparently one of the lightest cable-operated clutches in the motorbike world today. So not bad at all, not bad at all. Especially with thinking that this is quite a powerful clutch. The cons of the Casa case obviously is the price. The looks are both cons and pros. You either like it or you don't. It's Marmite in it, basically. You either love it or you hate it. I personally love it. I think it looks cool as, you know what I was going to say there. But it is a lot of money. Personally, I think if I didn't have the Casa case, I might have gone for another alternative. So basically I have to come to a little bit of a conclusion here when it comes to the Casa side case. Yes, you do get a lighter clutch. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, there's probably a bit of longevity there. If you've got a really powerful engine, it's good because the kickstart shaft is more supported. Yeah, you have to make up your mind yourself. The messages I've got now on Facebook, it's really split opinions there. Some people are completely put off by the look. I don't think I'm going to make any conclusions for you guys. You either love it or hate it. The clutch action is lighter, that is a fact. Let me do a little test. Isabella on the gorgeous Isabella, that's a whiskey talking, on the Rimini Lambretta video, she can pull a clutch lever with one finger. Now they've got the fanciest Lambretta, Casa Lambretta clutch. I haven't actually tried it, let's have a go. Can I do it with one hand? Alright, okay. Oh wow! Yeah, okay. I can do it with one finger. Ha! The nice thing about that, it makes it a pleasure around town. And like I said, I'll put a link under the video here for the Casa Lambretta video that shows the gubbins in the side case. But I am going to take it apart and you're going to get a proper look at it when I strip the engine. So it's me, Rob, from Kickback Garage, signing off. Bye bye. Så I really have to avslutte. Hva avslutte på engelsk nå? Avslutte. Conclusion. Right, yeah. It's Arberg. It's Scotland's finest. Woo!